the Valuart Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Valuart Podcast. Eddie and Izzy and Mark here with you. No guest episode today because, just a lot of moving pieces and some scheduling issues. And so we're just going to talk some news and catch up with each other, and then that'll be it. So where do we start? What are you guys feeling? What do you want to start with? You want to start with NFT news, or?
I'm honestly excited for this week. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like so much has happened in the crypto and NFT space. This morning, too, I woke up, looked at my wallet, and finally, I'm happy again.
You're rich. You're rich again.
Why?
Not yet.
What happened?
Well, I mean, not rich yet, but everything's looking good. So as you guys saw this week, Bitcoin finally hit 46K again. So now we're thinking, I'm feeling bullish. Pretty much everybody's feeling bullish, but at the same time, we're kind of like, is this a trap? But yeah, so there are some theories around. Some think that there's a supply squeeze, which I'm hoping of.
What does that mean?
So Bitcoin hitting 46K, why is the price like rising like that? People say that, the cycle should be over and that it's showing, that it should have been like 2018. But it seems now that the cycle is going to be until springtime 2022. And this is because old Bitcoin holders, right, compared to 2018, are not letting go of their Bitcoins. So when a lot of people are holding it on their exchanges, these Bitcoin holders are holding it on their physical wallets, right? So what does that mean? It means that there's less available. So there's more demand and less available, and this is going to make like the price spike.
Isn't Bitcoin finite anyway? Isn't it like there's a limit already predefined to the amount of Bitcoin? So how does it change whether it's on a physical?
It does change just because, still you have to have a certain amount available on the exchanges, right? But the fact that they're on the physical ones now, there's not much to buy on the exchanges. Okay. And of course you can still buy. It's just that the price, of course, the price spikes up because the demand is so high. So.
Yeah, we're seeing that on everything as well. Is that all the Ethereum's up 30% in the last week. Cardano's up all the big coins. Cardano's soaring. I think it's finally, I don't know if it's the ecosystem is merging and there's good news on Bitcoin, and then Ethereum did its hard fork, and so that's increasing. Cardano's about to release it's getting towards its smart contract capability, so that's going crazy. The NFT space is going nuts. I saw today that the OpenSea has overtaken Uniswap as the biggest source of Ethereum usage, and I think altogether, with, as Izzy said, with this limited supply, hodlers hodling, it's just been an incredible, crazy week, hasn't it?
Yeah,
it really has.
Long may it continue.
So can you explain to me the cycle? You mentioned that the cycle was, people were expecting the cycle to end in 2018, and then now they're expecting what does that mean? It's just like the bear bull cycle? They
expected like every 3 years to have this cycle, right? So it was supposed to end this year in 2021, and this when there was like the bearish market these months, everybody's like, okay, the cycle's over, we'll see you guys in 3 years to see like a major bull run. But at this point, like the market's going crazy, so people are like, it's not over.
My housemate was saying that they're predicting this cycle to end. It was supposed to be September, right? So wouldn't it make sense that there would be this push right before a dip in, say, September, October?
Could be. That's why I mentioned that it could be a trap. And I've been looking I've been looking everywhere. There's like the theories that it's going to be until April 2022, and some that are saying that this is like the last bull run and then everything's going to dip, but we're only going to find out towards the end of August from the charts. So waiting for the end of August. The most important thing to do in this case is, to protect yourself, is maybe like each week to start taking out a percentage out of your wallet. Maybe put it into stablecoin. That's like the most important thing. Like this morning, actually, I already took out a percentage out of Cardano just because it spiked so much, and I was like, let me protect myself. Let me just like take an amount, but never everything, just because I am like a hodler. And of course I still want to grow, but I think it's also very important to, protect yourself.
Can I ask you how because we talked like a couple weeks ago, I think you mentioned you're staking Ethereum, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm staking a lot of things.
Are you using a platform to do that, or have you set up like your own node? Like what are you doing?
More than staking, what I do with a lot of like I also do like farming, but not with Ethereum in particular. I do it like with PancakeSwap, for example. There it allows you to do farming with a lot of tokens, and what's really cool about PancakeSwap is that it allows you to get profit every day.
What tokens are you farming on PancakeSwap?
So one is Exceed Me, except that now Exceed Me, I'm like waiting for it to grow. It's been growing a little bit these days, but it's really slow. But still, it gives me some amount every day while I'm farming. So that's one. One is also Genesis. That one though has crashed these days, so it's going really bad. I have to check that out on CoinMarketCap later, but it's okay because these ones, like I discovered farming lately, and I love it even more than staking. Then what I stake too is eGold. eGold, in my opinion, and I do that on the Meyer app. Do you know, guys? Are you guys familiar with eGold?
No, tell me about it.
Oh, yeah.
So last week it was at around $50, and now it's around $116, if I'm not mistaken.
Jeez.
They have their own app, and the community is wild on Twitter. Such a huge community. So I'm going on it right now.
eGold.
eGold. And
what 25% in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
Holy
and
shit.
It's so practically you have your hero tag. So in my case, mine is Izzy 94, and it's wild because on the community, everybody on Twitter puts their hero tag on Twitter, right? Just because the community, they're so unified that sometimes they even gift each other eGold, right? So it becomes like a social network, and that's kind of their goal. And they're going to be introducing even other projects with NFTs. It's amazing. So I'm trying to get on, there you go.
These communities to me sometimes just seem like cults. Like they just feel very cultish.
There's definitely that kind of vibe.
I was reading about the Bored Ape community this morning, like a little bit this morning. Do you guys know about the Bored Ape NFTs?
Yeah,
I saw them. They've grown. They've exploded.
CryptoPunk.
They are exploding, and the community is like such a strange. It's like the most fundamental part of the. And to me, that's like, okay, that's a cult. Like that's all that is. But the artwork is cool too. I'll give them that.
I think the Bored Ape artwork I really like compared to the CryptoPunks and a lot of the others. It's kind of much more creative.
It has
and
like Gorillas
bright.
vibes, right? Do you see that? You see the Gorillas similarities?
Yes.
It's really cool.
I honestly love it. But anyways, what's cool is that it kind of like it's on the Elrond network, right?
You said Elrond?
Yeah, the Elrond
right?
network. Yeah. So
Elrond means what exactly? Because it sounds like the leader of the Scientology.
It's one of the characters in The Lord of the Rings. You know the one.
So maybe not related to L. Ron Hubbard then. Okay, that's good because we were talking about cults a minute ago, and then we said L. Ron. I was like, what's going on here?
In fact, like when you are, when you buy eGold, practically then you have a global ranking on the network.
Okay.
And you are assigned also some stickers. So what's cool is, people in the community are like, oh, I got to, I'm now like a dwarf. I'm a whale. Mm-hmm. So you really get these stickers, and it's fun. It's engaging.
Nice. Did you end up getting into Axie Infinity? Because that just passed $1 billion in revenue. Yeah.
I didn't play it yet. I have to. I'm so sad we didn't invest in it. We were just saying that the other day. We were like, oh my gosh, we could have chose Axie Infinity, and Bondly in that moment. That moment we chose Bondly.
Oh, what a turnaround. That was quite a swing. Those two situations turned out very differently.
Exactly. So it's
So you did end up buying an NFT recently, and it was in the newsletter. So what was your
Yes.
talk to us about that?
Yes. So the other day I ended up buying a stoner cat. I know we've been talking about it, Eddie, for quite some time. So I, after, when was it, on the 27th of July when they released the stoner cats, but had that like massive delay, with the transaction volume and the spike in all the transaction fees. I waited a while. I just wanted to see the vibe and everything. But then I just like started looking at all these cats, and I was like, I need to get one. I just need to.
So you got it on the secondary market, I assume, because it sold out in like 20 minutes or something like that. Something dumb.
It sold out, yeah. So it sold out, I can't remember, I think it was like in 30 minutes, something like that. And then what they did is they said, okay, with the first release of the series, we're going to be minting other 3,000 cats. So...
Oh.
Exactly. So they minted another 3,000. And that's where I purchased my Reggie.
So you haven't, it's not even a secondary purchase. You got it directly from the source?
I bought it on OpenSea. So when you go on the website on Stoner Cats, then it redirects you to OpenSea. And that's when I started looking at all the cats and mine that we can show right here now.
Okay.
Can we see it? Let's see it.
But so if you want to see it that are just listening to the podcast, they can check the newsletter because Reggie made an appearance in the newsletter this week.
Exactly. He made it in my newsletter. So I was like looking at all of them, but I honestly fell in love with him because I don't know, I love cheese. He's holding cheese during the middle finger.
Yeah.
It was a cheese for me.
So what has happened? Has anything changed about your image of what it means to own an NFT now that you have Reggie? Like, has that?
Yeah, because I was going to ask as well about what do you get access to a community that nobody else can access? With this stoner cat, do you now feel all powerful, special? Are people contacting you because?
I do. Yes, people have been contacting me because they were like, no, like you have to definitely like share the episode with me, right? And I was like, so I think that.
But it's on YouTube.
I know, but that's like as soon as they find it, they're gonna take it down. I would think that if I purchase a stoner cat, right, and I pay money, why should I share it on the web? Like it goes against myself.
Somebody did it, right? That's the only way it would have gotten out there. I think it's you. I would love to believe that these communities that are popping up supporting the art like this, which I think is great, and I can't wait to see how they're going to expand this into like a network of other series, and like how to help other creators actually do the same thing. But I find it kind of disheartening to see that it was immediately leaked. Like the link was immediately. Yeah, that sucks.
It really does suck. There's some spaces, like for example Telegram, that if you take a screenshot of a photo, you get like the notification that you're taking a screenshot. So I think that maybe in the future, is there a way that they can kind of integrate something that if you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this for a couple of years now because I wanted to try to reimagine how we distribute films. And there's no way around avoiding, like you can always record the media of the device in some way or another, whether it's through screen recording, especially on like desktop computers. It's really hard to do. It's really hard to have to place the same limitations on software that you can on a phone. Plus, you could always just have somebody record their screen. Like that's always going to happen, you know. That's been happening forever. People going into movie theaters and recording with their camcorders from their like armpit, you know.
I know.
Oh yeah, those early bootleg films. That's how I saw those early films. Yeah, bad quality. So even a hardware solution wouldn't even change it, would it? Because you just use another camera to.
No, yeah. There's got to be another way for you to create scarcity, and that's what I do love that about the Stoner Cats approach, because there's other incentives, right? Besides just the videos, there's also going to be other perks that you get eventually, or what's the plan?
Yes, definitely. So it's not only a matter of content, but also in the community. I'm part of like the Discord channel right now, and they say there's going to be some really special. They didn't like reveal what, but they said there's going to be something special for you guys, especially the ones that came since the beginning. So I'm curious to see. I mean, I wasn't like the beginning, but a week after. But I guess I'm going to be seeing some interesting things. And, you know, like you said, I think that this is a huge step when it comes to, you know, bringing back ownership of content to the creators. I think this is huge.
One of the most exciting things to me was like they raised $8 million for an animated series of episodes that are 5 minutes each, and I was like, that is brilliant. Like that's better than Kickstarter. That's better than Patreon. That's like, how can I do that? I was like researching how can I make my own token. I want to make my own artwork.
Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna get a Stoner Cat?
I probably won't get a Stoner Cat, but if they make some sort of, if they design some sort of platform that allows, like if they could white label it, or is it the right word, white label it, white glove, yeah, whatever. If they could offer it as a service, as like a software as a service, I would definitely use that because it seems like a viable option. But then again, like we're talking about Mila, Kunis, and Ashton Kutcher, so they have and Vitalik, so they have a huge audience already. Yeah, like I don't think that hurt their fundraising.
How much is it down to Mila Kunis? Is how involved are the celebrities in Stoner Cats? Are they?
From what I understand, Mila and Ashton are the ones that founded it. It started as an animated series in like a traditional sort of Hollywood approach, and then in the meeting, because Ashton's involved in like a lot of venture capital stuff, it was like, well, what if this was a blockchain project? And then it kind of spiraled into this, and I think it happened really quickly. I don't think it was planned to be released this quickly.
It really, really did. And did you guys check out also Ashton's Twitter lately? Like, there's like the videos with Mila and Vitalik that like are hilarious. Like, you guys have to see it.
I gotta be honest. I thought they were so corny.
Really?
Like,
you saw those
like
videos?
I saw it on a YouTube recap of those videos, like of the news, and somebody posted like it was like him asking Mila questions and then turning to Vitalik, and yeah, I was like, man,
I thought it was hilarious. You thought it was corny?
Yeah, because I just knew it was coming. I guess because of the context I watched it in, like I knew.
Yeah. Like
already knew that he was involved, so it was corny to me to see the reveal, like this dramatic reveal that Vitalik was involved. Yeah. I don't know.
For me, it was like hilarious. Maybe because I kind of resonated with Mila. Sometimes when I'm learning new terms in crypto, and and somebody asks me something, and I'm like, it's like when you, because I do get it, but then when it comes out of my head, like out of my mouth, it's like, what did I just say?
I definitely identify with that too, for sure.
Yeah, I feel you know when you get something and then you just have to explain it, and I feel like
I was trying to explain the London hard fork to my friend yesterday, because I was like, if we talk about this on the podcast, I want to be able to understand it well enough to talk about it. So I was like, what I'll do is I'll read about it, and then we'll go for a walk, and I'll just tell you what I remember, and that will help me kind of. And then Mark was saying, I think last week, explaining something to like the kids really helps for it to solidify it in your mind. I was like, I need to start hanging out with like 4-year-olds.
I know. They explain better. But,
So talk us through it, Eddie.
Me too.
Talk us through the hard fork.
I still don't really get it. So I'm hoping that you guys can carry that conversation, because the only thing that I really remember from what I read yesterday about it is that like investors or miners are really like up in arms about this, because they're going to lose a huge chunk of their revenue because the rewards are going away. So the London hard fork is the first step, or like one of many steps in the transition towards proof of stake, correct?
Yeah.
And so
correct.
The reward system for mining or for doing these, people keep calling it math equations, but I think it's just random number generation. Is they were rewarded with 2 Ethereum, right? 2 Ether.
Yeah, around.
And that's going away.
Yeah.
And
So
I think
off.
so they're pissed off about that, but I think in general, the network is gonna be more efficient and provide for more other revenue streams are going to be opened up because of this. And this sort of antiquated thing, it feels to me like the discussion of like, okay, maybe this is too on the nose, but in the States there was this conversation about bringing back the mining jobs, like opening up the coal mines again, and I was like, it just feels like a dying industry. Wow, guys, just move on. Like, and that maybe is a little insensitive because a lot of people's whole livelihoods are built on coal mining, but it's like, we're spending all this time talking about and arguing about something that is really not the most efficient way to provide resources and to move the technology forward. And I get it. You don't want to have to think about losing 30% of your revenue, but so that's all I remember from reading about the London hard fork. Maybe somebody else could do it more high level, broader.
I think
like, what does it mean?
Perfectly.
Yeah, it takes away the miners don't get the transaction fees. So in theory, it should make the gas fees disappear. But from what I've read, that isn't the case, because it's just been counterbalanced by the NFT blowing up so much that any reduction in those gas fees has just been brought in again by the sheer volume of traffic.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask you on today's conversation, because what I was reading was mostly articles from like last week, and they were kind of speculating what would it do to the price, what would it do to the network, and I haven't seen anything yet about like how, since the fork happened, how has that been impacted, how has that impacted the price and the traffic and the gas prices. So it sounds like if the NFT hype wasn't going on, if that wasn't a thing, maybe the gas prices would have come down, but now we're seeing it just kind of cancels out. So what if the fork didn't happen then? The gas prices would just keep like being insane?
I think so.
Yeah.
Should we pan to Vitalik? Is he in the corner of your room? Vitalik, can you comment on this?
Vitalik? Oh god,
Well,
we found out.
But there was like multiple changes in the hard fork. It wasn't just one thing, was it? It was a collection of. I read about the difficulty bomb. I have no idea what that is all about.
What? Okay, I also read about it a couple articles. I still don't understand what the point of it is. It's to create more difficulty.
From what I believe is that it's when, and I might be wrong on this, but when Ethereum finally switches to POS and it joins the mainnet, that difficulty bomb will make it so impossible for the original chain to continue. So everyone will have to switch to the POS Ethereum, because the difficulty bomb will make it impossible almost to create new Ethereum. I think it's something along those lines.
Because the point of the fork is also, because I mentioned deflationary earlier, because that was a word that kept coming up in the articles about the hard fork, because there's no cap on Ethereum. It can new coins can constantly be generated, right? So I guess the difficulty bomb is to kind of slow that down.
Stop or increase the burn. So even though they're being created, ones are being destroyed as well.
That's what I understood too. But I'll be honest, I'm not commenting too much just because I'm trying to understand more. Probably for the next episode, I'll get it. But
I came across while reading about the hard fork. I don't know how. I think maybe Cointelegraph or something. I saw this article about Polygon Punks. Did you guys read about that?
Yeah, they've been taken off the OpenSea, haven't they?
Yeah, so they were delisted from OpenSea. So Polygon Punks was, a lot of people were considering it a ripoff of CryptoPunks, and because they look the same, they followed like very similar community sort of. The community felt similar, and I think it was for people that didn't get.
That couldn't afford the.
Yeah, or missed the opportunity. They had this new thing, Polygon Punks, that was basically like a second chance, but it had no association to the CryptoPunks, to like to the original series. And so some people were like, especially the creators of CryptoPunks, were like, what the fuck, like this is our IP. So this is funny because we were talking so much like the last couple weeks about copyright and ownership, and like how this what will happen with this in the NFT space. And for OpenSea to delist it is a big statement. It's like, yeah, we believe that this is infringement, essentially is what they're saying. And no matter, and they don't do research into like intention. Like we talked with Nate about intention and like fair use. And OpenSea is they're not like a court, you know. They're not like, yeah, this feels like it's changing the message or whatever. They just got pressured by the community and they were like, okay, it's down. And then they moved to another platform, to NF Trade, I think is a platform that they moved to.
So
and they're still selling.
They're
still
going.
selling on trade. But was Lava Labs involved in forcing OpenSea in any way?
I'm pretty sure the pressure came internally. I don't think it was like a public like we don't support this, we think it should be removed. I think it was like because they're moving so much money, they're selling for so much. It would be hard for OpenSea to be in a position to say like, no, this is fine, we're gonna let this keep happening. I get it. I get what the pressure must have felt like for people at OpenSea, but I don't know if I agree with it. I don't know if I disagree with it. I did learn through reading about this that there's not only fines on infringing in the first, like if you create an asset that is infringing on somebody else's artwork on their copyright and you sell it, you pay a certain amount depending on whether or not you willfully knew like that it was infringing. You pay a certain amount on top of the like a fine. But there's also fines like the creator can sue the people that bought it and then resold it. So like the secondary market. And I think at that point, like especially how fast things are moving in the NFT space, like you buy something and then you flip it in like an hour or 24 hours and you make a bunch of money, you could have that whole thing take place before you even realize that this was been infringed upon. I think in the CryptoPunks and Polygon Punks case, it was clear like this is infringement. But there was a situation like a month ago with this project built by a 12-year-old called, it was like the Weird Whales project. I don't know if you guys saw that, but like
I didn't see it, but I want to see it.
It was cool, and it was like pretty heartwarming because this kid made this NFT series himself, which was I guess generated by
cute.
A copyrighted image. Yeah, and he was selling them for like really small numbers. Like I think the first series sold for like $60 each, and then so it's basically a loss because a lot of these platforms charge you to mint them, right? So
yeah.
Then people started talking about it and like really supporting the kid, and they were selling for like $6,000 a couple days later.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Turns out that the original artwork was a copyright infringement, and it's like, whoa, how do you know? You like really have to do your own research before you get into buying and flipping. Let me see if I could find.
From selling lemonade outside your house to NFTs, that's quite something, huh?
Yeah.
A lot more money in Weird Whales than lemonade as well.
Yeah. Oh boy, what a time.
So this kid made $160,000 in Ethereum, and this was in July. So now what do you think it's worth? Now he's 13. He's from India, and he's 160,000 in India is like you're like insanely rich.
I think he's living the life.
Yeah.
He's doing it right.
Incredible.
Yeah, holy
Awesome.
shit.
I'm gonna check that out.
But
later.
this is I bring it up just to say like you really don't know, because this stuff is moving so quickly. You really don't know what you're buying or who truly created it or owns it.
That's true.
You gotta be careful.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be careful, kids. Do your research.
Do your own research. Just you mentioned NFT trade. You can still get the Punks on that website, on that platform.
Yeah.
I was on NFT trade earlier this week as well, looking at NFT farming, because Izzy was talking about her farming on PancakeSwap earlier, and now you can do NFT farming where you stake your tokens and you're rewarded unique NFTs, which then you can then sell on.
I'm actually doing that, like staking some NFTs. You remember when I shared with you, Mark? I think you kind of missed them. So I have some NFTs, the Pokemons, which are not like the Pokemon. They're like these cool, cute unicorns. I don't know if you know them. And
sounds cool.
You want to see them? Eddie, can we put them on the screen when future Eddie editing?
I'll try to Eddie the editor.
So these you can actually stake them, and that's what I've been doing. But still gotta like see the results. Then I'll let you guys know how that's going.
Did you guys collect things when you were like younger, or like have you ever been into collecting like something like baseball cards or Pokemon or like Beanie Babies? Like I want to talk about the correlation or like some of the parallels between those phenomena and NFTs, if you have any personal experience.
There's a collection. People collect for different reasons. I collected CDs and books and things. I've never collected toys or stamps or anything in that vein.
Yeah.
You?
That's cool.
No, I never collected
Yeah.
toys. I collected Pokemon for a little while when I was a kid, but that's just because it was a social thing more than anything. I didn't even know how to play the game. I just wanted to be included
Me neither.
in the recess,
still have them?
conversations. I think there's a couple packs of them in my parents' basement, along with like thousands of like sports of trading cards of like different sports, because my uncle gave me a shitload of them, because at the end of the 80s and the early 90s there was like an influx of trading card production, because like the like Topps trading cards and like the other like NBA and MLB, they realized like oh, there's a lot of money to be made in this because people are spending a lot of money collecting them. So there was like they were overinflated, the amount of the market with these cards. So I have like probably 10,000 cards that are worth nothing in my parents' basement, because my uncle thinks that one day they're going to be worth something, but I'm like, that is not true, and they're not in good condition. So I wonder if this is going to be a similar situation with like a lot of these NFTs, like the CryptoPunks or the Bored Ape. Like people are like, these are going to be worth something someday. They're already proving to be worth something now. But that same thing happened with Beanie Babies, where like there was massive rushes to the store for people were like trampling each other to get their hands on these fucking stuffed animals, or like selling them on like eBay for insane amounts of money. And if you look at them now, it's like there's still a small market of like diehard fans, but nobody's talking about it, you know?
Was that just the sheer volume of Beanie Babies though, where everything is much scarcer in theory with NFTs, or you can keep the scarcity down? If there'd only been 10,000 Beanie Babies, would they all be worth a lot more now?
I think it had a lot more to do with the media coverage of it, which is exactly what we're seeing with NFTs. Like a lot of people talking about it, and then people feeling FOMO, like wanting to be part of it and wanting to be, because what these NFT series come down to is the community aspect of it. Like people just want to feel, especially since we've been like 2 years now sort of isolated from each other, it's like a way to feel like you're part of something, you know? And I think that's a huge part of this, and that is one aspect of like the physical memorabilia like Beanie Babies that wasn't, it's not as prominent in that, I guess, because that was like pre-internet, right? So now you have these Discord channels popping up, and you have like Telegram and all these other ways to stay in touch with your peers. And I think maybe we'll see some more longevity out of these things because of that. But I'm really curious, like 5 years from now, what does the CryptoPunks community look like? Like, are people still hanging out talking about it? Or is it like, I'm so tired of talking about these 8-bit characters?
Well, can I just... so I've been doing a little bit on the metaverse in the last week, and there was you mentioned the cults of NFTs, the cult of these NFTs, and people kind of attach their flag to one particular collection. You know, if you collect CryptoPunks, you don't collect apes. And then these kind of avatars becoming your identity. So they transcend what they originally are. They become your identity. You take your identity into the future of the internet in whatever guise it takes. And so these NFTs, they become your identity. So their use case in the future does change from a collectible item into how you are perceived on the internet, in the metaverse.
Do you identify with Reggie?
Well, I mean, not being stoned, but with the cheese I do.
And your boyfriend? Because you guys share, like, you're co-owners of Reggie, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're co-owners, and that's when things can get a little bit difficult.
That sounds complicated.
It is complicated because, also, so what our strategy is with crypto is, like, we have a lot of tokens we invested in. So some I get them, he gets them, and then we keep them, like, in the same wallet. And, sometimes, like, I nail them, he doesn't, and whatever. But with the NFTs, there was like a little bit of a dispute because I want to keep the stoner cat for a long time, and he's like, as long as when it reaches this amount, we're gonna sell it. And I'm like, don't touch my Reggie. So like,
you have different philosophies or different outlooks on how this pans out. I guess I would love to hear his perspective on why to do that. Is it just a fiscal investment? It's just like I'm just going to capitalize on this moment and then move on. And you have some attachment to it?
I have an attachment to my Reggie, to be honest.
Oh.
I'll be honest, I have attachment. So I guess it's kind of hard when you have you know, when you do share NFTs. So this could be maybe something like, you know, in the future, crypto couples.
Crypto couples. Well, you'll just have to stay together forever.
Exactly.
Stay together for the kitties. So it's interesting because Mark, I sent you that article about the NFT, the Bauhaus NFT. Remember it? Did you get a chance to read that?
Yeah, didn't read that. No.
Okay, the author of that article was talking about how he's approached like on a daily basis to like support a NFT drop or to like write about like a new, you know, exclusive project, and he's like, I don't really care. It's like it's so scammy. It's such bullshit. And then he got approached by one. It was like a music related NFT drop, and instead of being really rude to the girl who reached out, the marketing girl who reached out, he just sort of let her speak, and she offered him a chance to be like to have a sneak peek and to get early access to an NFT that had an experience associated with it, which was like a meet and greet with a band that is comprised of 4 members of a band that he loved growing up and have like pure nostalgia, sentimental value to him. And he was like, that's when I understood. Like that was a moment for me when I was like, oh, NFTs do provide a lot of value to people and can have some substance, some substance to them. And I was like, okay, I haven't experienced that yet. And being a 90s kid, I feel like there has been a lot of nostalgia capitalization, and I haven't seen anything that I'm like, I need to be a part of that. But if there was something like, if there was like some sort of community that you could join with only access, the Stoner Cats approach of like giving access to the media through the NFT is great. If that was a thing, if somebody came to me, I don't know if I want to include this, but if somebody came to me and was like, there's going to be a Boy Meets World reunion, and you can only access this Boy Meets World reunion with this NFT, I'll be like, yes, sign me up, take my Ethereum, I want to be a part of it. Yeah.
So so the real life experience is what gives it, or what can give it the value to you.
Definitely. If you can provide me something that I couldn't get otherwise, like if I can meet one of the stars or like sit in a writing group, or like, I don't know, be listed as a producer, like this is already happening with Patreon. This is already like what the perks of Patreon or the perks of Kickstarter or Indiegogo or whatever. If those things become more part of the conversation rather than it just being like investment speculation or like people trying to make money, I don't really care about that. It's sort of hollow to me. But if you can give me something that really touches like my inner teenager, then I'm like, I'm on board 100%. That sounds great.
I totally agree.
But I don't see a lot of that. I really don't see a lot of that.
Me neither. I'm totally on your side, and that's why like Stoner Cats just got me. I think it kind of reminded me. Well, I mean, you know, I used to watch Tom and Jerry a lot. So.
Do you I'll real quick, like, what did you think about the actual episode?
I loved it. I'll be honest with you.
You didn't know what it was. Did you watch it before
buying,
buying, or did you watch it after?
No. I watched it after buying, so I got the full experience. And then I found out, like, after 20 minutes that it was on YouTube, and then I was like, oh, that's sad, you know, but I didn't, like, say, oh, man, like, I could have not bought the NFT because I could buy it on YouTube anyways. I was like, I still have like something special that like other people aren't gonna have, cause like seeing your MetaMask there, you know, on the side and getting into the episode, there's like that adrenaline spike that you can't pay.
That's cool. That's gotta have that's like a visceral response to being part of like a software thing. Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that because I watched the YouTube link and I was like, okay, it's cool. Like the series seems like it has potential. It seems like it's trying way too hard to be referential, which is kind of everything nowadays. But I think, but I enjoyed it. I think if I had some stake in it like you do, I would have enjoyed it a lot more.
No, we'll see how long. You know, my boyfriend lets us keep it, but it's like, can we get a cat? And we're like,
so you have to be actively holding it to keep watching the series, right? You can't just like have had it once and okay.
No, you have to have it. So, like, it doesn't, like, we're not going to sell it, like, until I finish seeing the series. But then, you know, the second series is going to come out, so then I'm going to find the way to say, hey, but, you know, the second series is coming out, and I'll keep my kitty. Don't worry. I'm gonna fight for it. But
It's an us and them. It kind of love that there's the two experiences, and you both had the same experience, but because Izzy owns her cat, it was a different experience, and it for her. And then she's going to, I guess you could look at it, connect much more with the community around it than you, because you didn't experience the same feelings, and that's the power of the NFT right there.
like on Twitter, there was the other day they said like share your stoner cat. Like that's awesome. So I'm getting really nerdy on it, guys, but
So let's transition into a little bit of the newsletter. I think it's good to maybe finish off the episode with that. I want you to tell me about the UN, or was that in the newsletter? That was in Mark. That was in your.
I did.
Yeah, it wasn't in the newsletter. The UN NFTs, the UNFTs, is that a thing? Are they calling it that? They should call it that. Missed opportunity.
The UNFTs. Yeah, they would.
Yeah, tell us about that.
It's kind of using the media exposure of NFTs to highlight the climate disaster that we're facing. They're using artists. They're going to hire artists and create NFT. I can't remember what the platform was they were going to use. They'd chosen somebody, but essentially raising awareness of climate change via NFTs.
That's absolutely awesome. Like I can't believe I missed it actually. When did this news come out?
It was just last week or this week, but I think it's good to have a use case like that. I mean, if you're going, it's good to have the investment, it's good to have the fun, it's good to have the art, but also if you can raise awareness for something perhaps more valuable long term, that's good as well. I think it's good to have those different use cases, and this just highlights one that's.
And I think it's like, Eddie, the one, the project that you mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and who knows, maybe they can even collaborate in some way.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too when I first read it, because I had the same comment then, because they're still on proof of work. It's still Ethereum. I don't know if they're using Ethereum for the UN thing, but it's still very resource intensive to do that, and to combat climate change with something so resource intensive is why? Just do it another way. But maybe the platform they chose isn't on Ethereum. Maybe it's on something else that's proof of stake, or not in any way as resource heavy. I don't know.
Curious to see that.
Yeah, I would imagine that it's. I don't think they use a proof of work blockchain, are they? That would be a bit of a PR disaster.
Yeah, well, exactly. But I wonder too, because are they doing the research? Or are they just trying to jump in on the conversation without actually understanding it? Because I get it. I get the sense that that's a lot of what these projects are, especially the ones that are coming from politicians and institutions that are it's like the corny old the out of touch teacher that's trying to make the joke in class. Just shut up. You don't get it.
Agree. What we haven't added, and what is cool from the newsletter, is the amendment in the U.S. that they're trying to release that hasn't officially been released in regard to regulating the crypto space tax-wise, right? So that's going to be interesting. I thought that we would already have a response this weekend of what was going to officially happen, but it seems that they're still finding an agreement. There was a tweet that I read this morning from Senator Ted Cruz, that, a lot of people, it was he said something smart, and a lot of people, though, don't get along with Ted Cruz, as you know, right? So they were like, oh my gosh, I don't like Ted Cruz, but he's saying something right. And I was like...
What did he say?
He said, can we regulate something we don't know anything about? And that's true, because there are some really cool senators that get it, right? But other ones that they don't know anything about the crypto space and, are just talking about pure nothing. Doesn't make sense. But
do you have to record, because you're a dual citizen?
Yeah, I have.
So you have to record U.S. taxes, right? You have to report your taxes to the U.S.
So not at the moment, just because my residency is in Italy. So
I think
I
that
don't
you have
have-
to for your whole life always you have to report. You maybe you don't have to pay, but I think you have to report your your taxes to the U.S. no matter what. I think.
please don't put this, because I might be.
I wanted to ask you because I really want to understand. So, like, I'm curious what it happens when you buy like an NFT, like crypto art, and you don't like instead of like putting your money from a coin into a like fiat, converting it, and you buy crypto art instead. Do you have to pay capital gains on that? Like, do you have to pay taxes over that digital asset? I don't know what the situation is yet around that, and I haven't bought anything kind of because of that, because I don't know. I right now I've been holding like everything that I've had for like over 2 years, so I don't have the capital gains tax, and I haven't taken anything out of the market as far as I know. So if I want to buy an NFT, I want to know, is that a liquid asset? How does that work?
So, like, when you do cash out, right, from investments in the crypto space, in general, like here in Europe, like in Italy at least, if you go over 50K, then you are taxed for, I can't remember the percentage at the moment, just because I haven't done it yet either. I've been putting what I have been cashing out, I've like putting it on stable coins until I am like ready to cash out, but you are taxed like over 50K though. So I guess I'll be saying that when that is the case, but I know that they are pretty high. It's like 20 something percent. So that's
and I know in the U.S. it's even worse. I think it's like 50% of what you take out, you have to pay taxes over. If it's over like a certain amount of, like I think over 100 grand or something like that, then it's like it's insane. You lose half of what you've earned. It's almost pointless to take money out. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very it should be unregulated for the time being, because we still don't understand. Do I agree with Ted Cruz? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's like I'm gonna send you the tweet later. Practically all the comments are like people confused with themselves because they're like, am I agreeing with Ted Cruz? Like, what is going on here?
Having an identity crisis, like, oh shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Me too. I was like, I'm putting like, but I don't know. If they do move forward with this amendment that imposes like huge taxes, right, on all these emerging, ICOs, then it's going to be really bad for the US, because we might be seeing something like happened in China, right, with the miners, like in parallel, that everybody's just going to go outside the country, and it's like a step back. Instead of going a step forward with innovation, like we're just like going back.
Well, the bill in America, it was kind of and I think they've changed what they want to pass, or they've changed the bill, but originally it was essentially going to cripple the whole industry, because it was going to make it mandatory for miners to declare themselves, to have all these visibility laws which would have been impossible to do. So the miners would have had to declare tax, and it would have just been impossible. So everyone would have been breaking the law, or exactly. I believe.
For me personally, the deeper we get into the deeper I get into holding this kind of stuff, or like participating in it, I'm like, how bad is this going to be when I have to finally? Am I going to get audited one day? Like, I really don't want to deal with that. I'm not moving nearly enough to like for the IRS to give a shit about me, I think. But I know that I have friends that are holding a lot and have been making a lot, and are probably going to have a nightmare scenario for themselves in a year or two.
Yeah, and then there are a lot of ways, like crypto cards, right? That technically you can pass your money onto stablecoin, and then you can just like pay with your crypto card, and it's decentralized. So I haven't like been focusing on cashing out yet, so I'm still not there, but it's gonna be curious to see how we're gonna do that. But definitely, I'm like you. I think I'm not gonna be persecutor or something for the amount that I have, but
Keep all movements below 10 grand and the banks won't flag it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly.
But
Should we have an episode about tax evasion? I'm kidding. All right, whoever's out there listening in the NSA is on this podcast with us. I heard tax evasion on the Valuart podcast. Maybe we should flag that. Okay. I think that's probably a good place to call it, guys, if you want. Unless you have... actually, there was one more thing I wanted to mention, which we forgot to mention last week, and that was in relation to the auction, to the Banksy drop. So with the auction ending, and I think the price sitting somewhere around, like, it was 65 Ethereum. I think at the time it was like 160,000 US dollars. Half of that is getting donated to charities around the world, and the first donation we're making is to Doctors Without Borders, and I think it's somewhere around 35,000 was the number. I'll have to confirm with Ethan and Giorgio what that number is exactly, and maybe I'll do editor magic and like fix this if it's wrong. But I wanted to mention that last week because that was a major part of why I supported the project in the first place, and I think a great thing to do with the work, with the earnings. So that's my last bit of podcast update. So Mark. Izzy?
Well, this week's book club, I mentioned actually the first book that got me into crypto because until last year I was always like, I don't know, it kind of scares me. I don't get it. Then I read this book and I was like, I need to unbank myself. Like, so this is The Bitcoin Standard by, I can't ever know how to pronounce his name, please. I love your book. It's Amos Safedon. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Amos Safedon. And it's just an amazing book that really it goes through the whole, the origins of economy and really guides you through what Bitcoin is. And what's cool about it is that it's not like, it's called The Bitcoin Standard, but it's not going to be a book that's only talking about the pros about the Bitcoin, right? It really goes into the detail of everything, the pros, the cons, and then it just leaves the reader to decide what he thinks about it.
So
and
what was the moment for you where you kind of reevaluated your biases? Like, was there a standout piece of the book that you were like, I get it?
Yeah. Well, I guess a lot of the part of the book where it talks about deflation. I guess I never, in my daily life, I never thought that much about deflation. I mean, I heard about it, I was like, okay. But then there was a quote that says, money that is easy to produce is no money at all, right? And that quote, really hit me. And then I really understood, the value of Bitcoin at that point and, the non-value of our monetary system at the moment with all this deflation, and that quote really hit me, and I was like, wow, okay.
But you mean inflation, I guess, right? You're talking about
oh my gosh, inflation. Yeah, did I say deflation? Sorry, I meant inflation.
So one more time, the title of the book.
It's The Bitcoin Standard, and in December actually he's going to be releasing the sequel of the book that's called The Fiat Standard.
Nice. Well, thanks for that. Cool. I guess that's a good place to end it this week. Next week we'll have another guest on, and we'll have more updates on some of the stuff we talked about today. And I think good episode, guys. This is fun. I'm glad we had Mark on as a voice of substance, a recorded voice. That was nice.
Recorded voice. Well, yeah. Enjoy just to the listeners, stay safe because the news is going to be blowing up this week, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity for FOMO and trying to get involved in projects left, right, and center. So yeah, choose your sources carefully.
Yeah.
We will. Oh,
good.
Boy.
Do your research, kids. All right. Have a fun week. We'll talk to you guys again next week.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao for now.